인사드리고 싶어서 여러분들한테 라이브 영상을 틀었어요. 이게 죄송합니다. 미안합니다.
지금
패드릭이 나와봐 깔어.
진짜 진짜 억울해서
농담이에요.
이 약간 열받은 것 같아.
그래요? 자, 하나 진짜 우는 거야? 우는 거예요?
진짜 화나서.
Sad news to be sharing with you right now. Former K-pop band member Goo Hara was found dead in her home in Seoul, South Korea. She was 28 years old, a former member of the K-pop group Hara.
She was bleeding in a hospital bed, and while she was trying to survive, the man who hurt her was literally emailing revenge clips to the media. By the time the public stopped calling her unstable, Goo Hara was already gone. This wasn't about a breakup. This wasn't idle stress or burnout. This was a full-blown setup, and the industry used it for profit. Goo Hara went from selling out tours with Kara to being blackmailed, stalked, and labeled crazy while she was having seizures on camera. And the worst part, every tabloid ate it up. But her breakdown wasn't random. It started with her ex. It escalated into leaked footage, and it led straight to a group of powerful men, including idols, CEOs, and a police officer with ties to the president. And the only reason we even know that is because she named names. She didn't just survive it, she exposed the whole network. And once she did, they made sure she paid the ultimate price. And to date, some people still ask, did they kill her with what they did, or by making the whole world ignore it? Let's get into it. Before Goo Hara's name even hit the headlines, the public already decided she was the villain in some bootleg K-drama scandal. It started with one phone call, a so-called domestic dispute. That's what the media ran with. But the way they spun it, they made her out to be a violent diva, an unstable idol, some rage-filled girlfriend spiraling out. And nobody even bothered to check the hospital records before dragging her name through every news cycle. Meanwhile, the one feeding them all the noise? Her ex, Choi Jong-bum, a hairstylist with a temper and a salon and way too much ego. This man laid hands on her, then filmed her without consent. And this right here, it's the elevator footage that started it all. You can see Goo Hara and her ex mid-argument, her begging him not to release the intimate pictures he had of her. They even pulled up footage from an old scripted boxing show and used it as evidence that she was abusive. They didn't even do her the courtesy of adding some context into it. Just straight up character assassination. Now, watch this. This is the clip the media weaponized, a lighthearted, pre-planned match from a game show that they twisted into proof Hara was violent. It was part of a reality program where idols boxed for fun, not a real fight, not real drama, and definitely not real abuse.
잭펀치를 하면서 시합을 해줘야 됩니다.
서로 펀치를 확인해 보는데요.
얼마나 센지.
네.
예.
구하라. 좋아요. 좋습니다.
자, 제대로 붙었다.
네, 들어갑니다. 이게 누가 왼쪽입니까? 네. 네, 들어갑니다. 이게 누가 왼쪽입니까? 네. 이게 됩니까? 와줘.
And yet, people still said she was faking it, that she was manipulating the narrative. So while CJ was busy soft launching a new salon and acting brand new, Hara was stuck doing emotional cleanup, trying to survive a smear campaign in real time. And the internet just kept calling her attention-seeking. She could have posted a selfie crying from the floor and people still would have said she was doing too much. Oh wait, she did post one from an actual crying room. She was on anti-seizure meds, barely hanging on and begging for help on Instagram. And all she got were clown emojis and she's so dramatic in the comments. Because when you're a woman in K-pop and you show pain, they don't just ignore it, they flip it on you. One comment said it best: being a female idol sounds like the worst job ever. Breathe wrong and suddenly you're trending for all the wrong reasons. And they are so real for that. Like, tell me why Seungri, who is literally in the middle of a federal level scandal, is now out here opening clubs in Cambodia where the laws barely protect women or little ones, and people are just letting him? Another user said it best: they should have locked up this for life. If this monster strikes again, South Korea should take responsibility. Because in K-pop, when a woman shows pain, they don't just ignore it, they weaponize it. And this was just the beginning. So after the beatings, the blackmail, and the smear campaign, Goo Hara tried to end it. Literally. In 2019, she was done. And the internet, it barely flinched. Now, this part right here, it should have made headlines for a different reason. Because instead of anyone apologizing to her, it was Hara who ended up being the one saying sorry, and not just in private. She'd survived an attempt on her own life, and the media still spun it into a press apology. This clip shows how Korea reported it and how the whole narrative got flipped to make her look like the problem.
Goo Hara, a former member of the disbanded K-pop girl group Kara, has expressed her apology to the public following a failed suicide attempt over the weekend. She told Japanese entertainment news outlets that she's sorry for causing concerns and a commotion, and she's recovering. The 28-year-old added that she was having a hard time over a number of issues, but she will now stand strong and try to show up healthy.
Meanwhile, as I told y'all earlier, the man who leaked her trauma was opening a salon and smiling for the press. Most of us would have vanished after that, gone quiet, protected whatever dignity we had left. But not Hara, she was still swinging. While she was healing, she connected with reporter Kang Koyoung-yeon, the one tearing apart the Burning Sun scandal. Hara wasn't just a whisper in the background, she was the catalyst. She got her ex-friend Choi Gong-hong to flip, and the name he gave her? Yoon Gun, a top-level police officer with ties straight to the Blue House, the very man covering up the revenge ring from the inside. And if you think I'm exaggerating, listen to this. Kang Koyoung-yeon literally said it herself. The police weren't just ignoring the case, they were in it. This clip shows her exposing the truth on record about who was protecting who and how deep it really went.
어떻게 도와주면 될까? 이런 얘기를 해서 제가 솔직하게 얘기했죠. 사실 저는 그 경찰의 존재를 알고 싶은 것인데 알 방법이 없다. 그래서 혹시 이 부분에 대해서 하라 쌤 도와줄 수 있을까요? 이렇게 얘기했더니 그때 당시에 이제 구하라 씨가 최종훈 씨에게 전화를 걸어서 그 부분을 대신 물어봐줬던 것 같아요.
But the second she spoke his name out loud, that's when they really came for her. And before we even get into what they did to silence her, we need to talk about the men behind all this filth, because they weren't even hiding. They were in a group chat, laughing, sending videos, and calling it boys being boys. But this wasn't a casual thread. This was a digital crime ring. And the names in it, straight out of your Stan list. Let's start with Seungri. Yep, that's Seungri from Big Bang. He wasn't just dancing on stage and collecting brand deals, he was literally one of the directors at Burning Sun Club, and based on receipts, he was the one arranging women for VIPs behind the scenes, making sure they were ready. You get the picture. And just so we're clear, this wasn't some secret side hustle. Seungri was front and center, right there in the club, playing the role of party king while the whole operation moved behind him. Watch this and try to tell me he didn't know exactly what was going down.
본인은 그 파티에 본인이 투자를 받고 싶어하는 그 재력가들을 모으고
Alright guys, let's go back and let's work. Yeah, you guys go and work.
Then there's Young Yoon Young, or JJY. This man had hundreds of videos saved on his phone, not one or two, hundreds. Full folders of unconscious women being filmed without consent, passed around like memes in this group chat. And he had the nerve to brag about it, like that was a part of his brand. And remember Choi Jong-hoon from FT Island? The same one Goo Hara got to flip on a top cop? Yeah, he was in there too. None of this was speculation. These weren't whispers or rumors. There's even a clip of a former employee telling on them, explaining how they picked up women and escorted them in the club.
게스트나 VIP를 입구에서 만나서 계단을 내려가면은 밝은 조명은 아니었고요. 밝은 조명은 아니고 좀 어두컴컴한 조명에서 직진을 하다 보면은 메인 바가 있습니다.
But what really made it worse was how fast some fans jumped in to ask if maybe it was all taken out of context. Like, what context makes any of that okay? So, no, they weren't scared of jail, they were scared of Goo Hara. Because she wasn't just a victim anymore. She was the one who knew exactly where the bodies were buried, and she was getting closer to digging them all up. But here's the part they didn't see coming. She wasn't doing it alone. While the idols were busy cracking jokes in group chats and the police were too busy cleaning up their own mess, the ones who actually stood up were neither rich nor protected. They were the women who risked everything just to get the truth out. One of them was literally a tech assistant. She was just doing her job repairing a phone when she came across the chats and videos JJY thought he got rid of. And instead of staying quiet or running to the press for clout, she snatched that USB and leaked it anonymously and dipped. Then there was Kang Kang-young, the reporter who, as I told you earlier on, blew the whole thing open. She wasn't backed by some big news network. She was basically fighting this war solo. People tried to silence her, ruin her career, and even threatened her safety, but she kept going. Like she already knew if she stopped, no one else would pick it up. And here's the part they never show you. While idols were out here getting sympathy letters and comebacks, Kang was being harassed for 3 years straight, but she never backed down.
이제 페미이라고 부르면서 뭐 임신한 페미, 뭐 좌파 페미, 뭐 이런 식으로 제 이름을 그냥 이름 앞에 그냥 자연스럽게 그런 별명들을 붙였던 게 되게 오래 갔어요. 3년 동안 계속 괴롭혔던 것 같아요.
And the wild part, she wasn't just covering headlines. She was working with real victims, chasing down sources, risking her job, her safety, her entire reputation, all to expose the same men the industry were still protecting. And even when she was cornered, she didn't fold. But it wasn't just her. There were makeup artists, trainees, former staff, stylists, people who had nothing to gain and everything to lose by speaking up. And they did anyway. Some of them got blacklisted, and all they were trying to do was stop this from happening again. Every single piece of truth that cracked this case open came from women who knew damn well the price they would pay.
다시 얘기를 꺼내게 되면 눈물이 나요. 안 슬프다고 생각하거든요. 근데 눈물이 나서 힘든데 그래 더 알릴 수 있는 기회가 있으면 얘기를 해야 된다고 생각해요. 알고 있어야 하니까.
And what did the system do to thank them? Nothing. Actually, worse than nothing. Because when it finally came to deliver justice, the courts didn't just fail them. They laughed in their face. After all the leaked videos, the druggings, the chats, the laughing, the bragging, after all that trauma that can't be undone, want to know what justice looked like in South Korea? Jung Joon-young, the man with literal folders of unconscious women on his phone, got 5 years. Not for one victim, but for hundreds of illegal clips and multiple group assaults. And get this, he didn't even serve the whole thing. He got released early, he just walked out. And what about Choi Jong-hoon? 2.5 years. That's not even as long as your favorite idol's comeback hiatus. And Sunguri, the one who helped run the whole operation behind the club, who made sure VIPs had access to women like it was a business expense, he got 18 months. You literally get more time for tax evasion. And while all of this was going down, the so-called whistleblower, the guy the media tried to paint as some kind of hero, Kim Sang-gyo, turns out he was also accused of lied to investigators, and still got probation. One fan put it perfectly. Their prison sentences are the biggest joke here, ruining hundreds of innocent women's lives and getting 18 months and up to 3 years in prison. I am repulsed. And another said, the fact that these men only got 1 to 4 years in prison is disgusting. These women will be trying to recover for the rest of their lives. Like, where is the lie? I mean, basically every single man involved either walked away early, got their record wiped clean, or went right back to business like nothing happened. But the women who spoke up, still erased. And the idol who risked everything to help expose it, she never even got to see the verdict. The system dragged her through hell, and by the time they started handing out sentences, she was already gone. But the part that broke people the most, it didn't even start with Goo Hara, because exactly 1 month before Goo Hara passed, her best friend Sulli was found dead too. And that one shook everybody, because Sulli wasn't hurting anyone. She wasn't caught in scandals or dragging people online. She was literally just existing. Posting Pilates clips, skipping the bra, dancing on live, cracking jokes, doing what every other Gen Z girl does on her phone. But the world wouldn't let her live, and hurrah, she watched it all go down before it happened to her too. And instead of going quiet, she warned on live stream and said goodbye, crying with the fans and letting it all out.
제가 설리랑 정말 친했던 친언니 동생 사이였기 때문에 제가 이렇게나마 대신 선미한테 인사드리고 싶어서 여러분들한테.
But even after that, people still didn't back off. They called her names, said she was looking for attention, said she was ruining the industry, like she deserved the pain just for being herself. Now, people keep calling what happened to Sulli a tragedy. But let's be real, it was a setup, just like Hara. And if this happens when the whole world is watching, what the hell do you think is gonna happen when nobody's looking?